You've probably read something about autonomous vehicles in the news, but what are they and how do they work? Well, they use sensors, lasers and cameras to navigate the roads, and there are actually 5 different levels of automation. Today, your car is at level 1 with features like cruise control and parking sensors. But by level 5, the car can drive itself completely. All you do is tell it where to go. But what does that actually mean? Well, with computers at the wheel, you'll get from A to B faster with less congestion and less pollution. Once you arrive, your car will even park itself. But their biggest benefit is safety. Every year, more than 1 million people are killed in car accidents worldwide, and 90% of them are caused by human error. Sometimes we get tired, we lose concentration, and every now and then just get it wrong. Could driverless cars be safer? They'll have to be able to make quick decisions in all kinds of situations and share the roads with conventional vehicles, pedestrians and cyclists. There's still a lot of work to be done, but driverless cars could dramatically cut the number of accidents on the roads and save millions of lives. That doesn't make letting go of the wheel any easier though. There are still lots of unanswered questions. Who's to blame if there's an accident? Can autonomous vehicles be hacked? And what if you're someone who just likes driving?
Do you know? When did the first programmable device appear? Torpedo as an inspiration for self-driving? The inventor of the first cruise control system cannot drive? Who created the first autonomous intelligent vehicle? What is DARPA challenges? You will find all the answers in this video. Let's start. The history of self-driving car can be traced back to 500 years ago. The 16th century, Leonardo da Vinci invented a cart that could move without being pushed or pulled. The power was provided by the springs under high tension. The cart could move along a predetermined path when steering was set in advance. The invention is a distant precursor to the car, and sometimes it is considered the world's first robot. The autopilot system was forced to develop due to the extended travel times. Mechanical Mike was a prototype autopilot designed by a company called Sperry Gyroscope. It was used by Wiley Post during a 13,000-mile, around-the-world flight in 1933. The autopilot allowed him to simultaneously fly and navigate. The system remains an integral part of autonomous vehicle tech today. Teeter cruise control was. From 2004 to 2013, the U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, sponsored a series of challenges that pushed autonomous technologies forward. In 2004, a competition was held to challenge vehicles to self-navigate 241 kilometers of desert roadway, while no car completed the route. In the challenge held in the next year, 5 vehicles successfully completed the 212 kilometers course. By 2007, the Urban Challenge had extended those successes to a mock city environment. Finally, 4 cars completed the route in the allotted 6-hour time limit. During the development, better software, camera, radar and laser sensors improved the road following and collision avoidance. The autonomous system was sensing the environment and made the decisions. While European researchers has laid the groundwork in self-driving, the US is now a serious contender.
The first reason is closer than you might think. Driverless cars are already in motion, with features like cruise control, self-parking, and lane assist widely available. In the not-too-distant future, vehicles will be completely driverless with no need for human interaction. Our second reason is safer roads. Driverless vehicles react 100 times faster than humans, and could bring a 93% reduction in road accidents by 2040. Our third reason is enabling true door-to-door journeys for everyone. As the technology develops, driverless transport will improve mobility for everyone, regardless of their age, disability, or where they live. Reason 4. Driverless cars will mean paying less. Alternative energy will be far cheaper than petrol and diesel. Insurance is also expected to become more affordable. Reason 5. Making more of your time on the road. With cars doing all of the driving, road users worldwide will free up around 1 billion hours every day. What will you do with your travel time? The sixth reason drives us towards a better environment. Driverless cars can reduce congestion, and CO2 emissions may fall by as much as 300 million tonnes each year.
Virtually all the automobile companies have an interest in this. Tesla, Ford, General Motors, and companies such as Google, the high-tech companies, are into it. I think we're a substantial distance away, at least 15 years. There's so many things that have to be worked out. The big one that has to be thought about, at least in my view, is the cybersecurity problem. Right now, if you're in your car, already some folks may know what's going on. But with a driverless car, there would be other people who know a lot about what is going on in your vehicle. If you engage in hanky-panky, if you fall asleep, if you're drunk, if you say things that you don't want other people to hear, privacy invasions could be very substantial. With all the mechanics and computer-generated mechanisms in a car, someone, somewhere, is going to know much more about you. Just the way they may if you have some device where you say, play music and it's in your home. They learn about you. And companies that already have access to our information, who then go into the driverless cars or autonomous vehicles market, will have more information. It's very possible the governments, our government, or governments in foreign countries, will be more intrusive and know more about you than they may currently. Is the government going to be able to dictate to you about where you're going, how you're driving, whether the vehicle is set at a certain speed? Is the government even going to tell you what it knows? Cybersecurity, to me, seems like an extremely big one in a situation with millions of codes and not absolute certainty as to who can obtain access to those codes. Potential problems could exist. Your bin Laden of 2040, on one day, could somehow break into the code of 1,000 vehicles, and they could create absolute mayhem. And no terrorist would have to be killed. So cybersecurity is a very substantial risk that we do not have now. With cars where we drive them, we're not thinking so much about privacy when we get in our car. But if we're getting in an autonomous vehicle, we are going to think about it.
Con. As with many other emerging technologies, they're going to eliminate some jobs. It's predicted that millions of professional driving jobs will be wiped out, including both truck and taxi driving. It's also possible that related fields like car insurance and auto repair could be affected. Even though new jobs will emerge during this transition, it could prove to be a difficult time for many. Self-driving cars are going to be pretty expensive. Hardware, like cameras and sensors, and the software required to process the incoming data could make things fairly pricey. After their release, the prices may come down, but they may still be more expensive than traditional cars. This may mean that car ownership decreases in the future, with people opting to rent self-driving cars only when they need them. Owning a car might even become obsolete. The future's uncertain, but whether we like it or not, the rise of driverless cars is bound to transform transportation in one way or another.
Cars that can talk to each other, interact with traffic lights, and even see around corners. The advent of 5G could make these real, bringing the faster speeds and greater bandwidth needed for smart traffic systems and truly autonomous vehicles. But it's not the only option for connecting cars. It's up against a more established Wi-Fi based technology. There's a debate about which is better. The choice is between the existing Wi-Fi standard called DSRC, or Dedicated Short Range Communications, or CV2X, Cellular Vehicle to Everything, that would eventually use 5G networks. China was first to make a decision favouring cellular technology for its cars. With recent developments in 5G, that could be handing China an early lead.
Their focus
of CV2X and gave it a dedicated band of spectrum. In the US and Europe, the spectrum issue is unresolved and there's a split on which technology to use. Settling the standard matters. If the federal government mandated a technology today, it's estimated up to 8.1 million car crashes and 44,000 deaths could be prevented. So how are the technologies different? Both are designed to connect cars directly to other vehicles and the infrastructure around them. But the cellular tech can also harness a 5G network's wider coverage, greater bandwidth, and crucially, its lower latency. The Wi-Fi-based standard also has low latency, and backers like chipmaker NXP argue that it's a better option because the technology is mature and ready for deployment now. But supporters of the cellular tech say it has superior range and is more secure. Byton is a US EV startup that will build its car in China and bring it to market with basic self-driving capabilities. Currently, General Motors is the only US carmaker promoting the older Wi-Fi standard. Bloomberg New Energy Finance says in the long term, the US, Korea and Japan will adopt the cellular option as they aggressively deploy 5G networks. For now, the Western world's left it to automakers to fight it out over which standard to adopt.